Welcome to today's recording. Today we shall be focusing on change analysis using Landsat data, and we are going to basically open images of Lake Naivasha before and after the flooding. So the image of 1995 represents a time before the flooding, and an image for 2010 represents a time after the flooding. So let's start by doing the supervised classification. In the previous video I showed how you can perform supervised classification with training. So today we are going to go straight ahead to the classification workflow, and before I continue, the image loaded here is for a region around Lake Naivasha, and it's a color infrared image. This is the water right here, and of course other features surrounding it. So we're not going to use any mask, so I'll simply proceed. And we said we are performing supervised classification, so I will be using training. This training data I had created beforehand just so I can focus on the change analysis. So I'll just point to where the training data is. We are classifying for 1995, so I'll pick the shapefile. We expect that the classes should be populated here, and the classes range from clear water to turbid water, and also bare and built up regions, as well as vegetation. So let's just give it a moment. This process can be accelerated by opening this training data before running the classification workflow. So everything we're going to leave as default and click next. So let's give it a moment. We should have our results in no time. And right now we are running the maximum likelihood classification. This is the algorithm that is widely acceptable by the scientific community, as well as the geospatial analysts. So on cleanup, I'll just leave this as default, and next. So we're running the cleanup process, basically removing the speckles, tiny bits. So here we are. We're going to do change analysis, so we are not going to export vectors right now. We're not going to export statistics either, so we'll just export the classification image only. So let's point it to output classification and save it here, like Naivasha 1995 class, and finish. So that is how you perform supervised classification. I had done this before, but since we are focusing on the thematic change analysis, which uses the output of classification as the input, I felt it's necessary to go through this again. So you can see that our image has been classified into turbid water, clear water, bare and built up areas, as well as vegetation. You can do a bit of swiping just to see how your classes have been represented. So this is for 1995. I'll just stop the swipe. Now let's do for 2010, and then we can compare. So 1995 represents a time before flooding, and 2010 represents a time after flooding. So let's just load the image from our data folder. Sorry, 2010 Lake Naivasha. So So this is a Landsat image, 30-meter resolution, punch up into 15-meter, and the OI extracted. So the same procedure for 2010. Let's do the classification also, and we're going to use training data. So let's load the training data set. So we're not going to use this one. Let's use for (2010). Let's give it a moment to populate the classes here. So the classes for 2010 are similar to the ones for 1995, so that we can compare them directly. There we are. Let's go forward. Again, we are running the maximum likelihood classification algorithm. There are several algorithms for classification, but by default ENVI will choose the maximum likelihood classification for you. And now we are in the cleanup stage, so just leave it at default and next. Running the cleanup. Let's give it a moment and we should have our results displayed. There we are, our results displayed. We're not exporting vectors again, no exporting statistics either, just the image. So let's just copy the name. I think it's in the right folder, so yeah, let's just leave it there. And exporting our results. Our result has been displayed. We can now choose to remove the original images or the raw data sets and just remain with the classified data, which we can do the swiping also just to compare the amount of dirty and clear water. Notice that after the flooding, the water has been covered with I think soil, or we call it siltation or something. So the water is appearing turbid, like almost, actually the whole lake has become turbid, and the amount of clear water has reduced. We only see clear water here at the side. So we are going now to run the thematic change workflow just to compare how much water or what feature has changed to what. So thematic change or change analysis is very good in terms of comparing the themes. Let's say, for example, how much land has changed to water and how much of the vegetation, for example, has been covered by water, such a thing. So for time 1, we're going to input the result for 1995, and then for time 2, results for 2010. So this is the thematic change workflow. The mask basically is the area of interest. We're not going to input any mask today because we are processing the whole scene. So next. So in a moment we expect that all the changes will be displayed here. So we are going to process or apply the thematic change analysis only on areas that have changed. So next. So this is going to create a new image that shows the areas that have changed. We're not going to export the vectors again, but if you wish, you can export it in your analysis. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to export it, and here it is. So let's just say like my version 1995 to 2010 change, and you can choose to put this in a different folder. So let's put it in the thematic change folder. Paste and finish. So once done, we shall see a new image displayed that shows only the changes. Turn off the swipe. So here we have the changes between 1995 and 2010 shown, and from here you can see that we have from turbid water to unclassified. We have something like from turbid water to clear water. That should be very minimal, but we expect that most of it from clear water to turbid water. For example, here, clear water to turbid water, which took a bigger percentage because of the flooding of Lake Naivasha. And for that, I'm going to end here today, and later I'll be making more videos on how you can do further image analysis in ENVI. Thank you very much.